All right, we're back at it. I apologize. Hopefully this makes it a little bit more a little better here. We got 11 seconds till market open, I think. Apologize, folks. Still getting situated here. Hopefully it's not glitchy on your end, but as you can see, we have a lot of wicks, so I'm not as concerned. We got news at 10 o'clock we're probably going to be waiting for. I have to activate the TradingView the TradingView add-on on Trade so I can trade on screen here. Okay, there we go. We'll get here to, in a second, get everything situated. Jordy Trades, good morning. In short, not the best start of the year. I had a great first day, and then Friday was not a great day, and then so recovering from that, but it's not going to affect us. There's negative days all the time, bad trading days. Okay, so here's our First close of a fair value gap. This is a decent fair value gap. A little deep. I like their immediate retracement to it before we move lower. That should expand straight lower right now. Pretty aggressive price action there. I took a quick scalp just with this price action here. It just wasn't anything that we could get outside of this breaker that initially ran up into it. And so I just did that on a personal account with small size. Waiting for my funded accounts to play out after the news at 10 o'clock. All right, let's get situated here. 9:30. We're on the 32nd. What the heck? All right, so midnight open's been tagged multiple times right here, and you can see our new week opening gap sitting right here and London lows sitting right here. Initially, I wanted my trade to be an idea targeting these. Can I get rid of this? There you go. But it looks like it's going to grab it pretty much right away, which sucks. That was a nice breaker right here. I literally wasn't set up, but saw this, and that's this. The sweep of the Asia highs and this breaker was why I did a quick 10-handle chase. Did you get that breaker entry, Ted? It was a nice entry. Okay, I think I'm all set. Just making sure I got everything that I want. All right. Okay. You didn't? Oh, you set it to the body. Shoot. Yeah, that was it was really fast. So for those of you that saw this, here's the thing. What I'm going to challenge you guys to do, and I've been doing this a little more frequently because I've allowed several plays. I've missed several plays over the last several weeks that I'm just not okay with. And what I'm doing is I am going back and I'm basically doing this. I'm going back and I'm kind of making my own personal flashcards. So this is what it looks like before the actual trade took place. High, low, higher, high, displacement. Right? Ted had it right on the money. He put his entry right at the low of the body right here. Okay? So when the next candle pops up, when that candle comes up into this level right here, and you see how aggressive it is, you know that this is an entry. This is worth the risk. This is worth the risk because of how quickly it then played out. Just like that. Now at this point, I would love for this to retrace and not hit London lows yet. Maybe come up here and give us an inversion fair value gap. But I mean, it already looks like we're not getting that. We had an inversion, 30-second inversion right here, but we didn't sweep the high, so I wouldn't have done that. There's the London lows tagged right now. And outside of that, the only other higher time frame key level is we have our equal lows and PM session low down here. So if we can find a way to get access to that, I just can't take it without a retracement. We also have news sitting at whatever time it is. Is that a unicorn there? Oh, right at open, Tony, right? Is that what he calls the unicorn? The midnight open is a great area of resistance. It wouldn't surprise me if we drop lower from that point right there. But we did hit London lows, which is a key level that makes me not want to target lower, not to run lower unless we get some type of inversion fair value gap for a clear setup. If it runs lower right here, it's running without me. Breaker with a fair value gap. I thought it was a breaker with a fair value gap at open. Because the only type of breakers I like are the ones with fair value gaps. Those are my preference. I'm going to get rid of the opening range gap that's been tagged right off the open. Stick to the 1 minute for right now. Guys, is the stream a little bit better? I hope that restart did something. I'm marking up my chart on ES right now, just so I have my ES levels, so I know when we hit key levels on ES as well. I'm leaving the screen on NQ right now so that you guys can see price action and when I'm talking about it. So the 5-minute looks like it could give us an inversion fair value gap. We'll see if it wants to do that or not. All right. We were watching the 9:30 price here, see how we react to it. There's really nothing there. It's been straight green. There hasn't been a single entry in any of this. So if you're like, what is Tyler doing? Why isn't he talking about? I don't want to miss this. There hasn't been a single entry. Honestly, our best opportunity is taking a short right there. I'm not going to do it because of how aggressive this is. And we grab London lows. But we'll see how it reacts here. Wonder if it gave us 10 handles. 9 handles, yeah. It'll probably give us a 10 handle reaction right here. Yeah, there's your 10 handle reaction off of the breaker. Again, we're waiting till Jolt's news. Until then, it could do all this ranging back and forth. I'm going to wait till Jolt's news. The Jolts come out at 10 o'clock. Alkai, good morning. So NQ gave a large, or the 15-minute gave a large wick lower, and then stayed inside of this 15-minute fair value gap. I'm still partial to the downside. If it wants to run higher, it can. I don't have an entry mechanism to go higher quite yet. There's not a fair value gap here. We do have our first fair value gap sitting right here. Do I have that right, Ted? I think that's correct. And there's our reaction inside of that to potentially move higher. This isn't consistent enough for me to do it. I haven't seen the first fair value gap be consistent enough for this. It did it yesterday. If you look at yesterday's price action, it did this very thing. It went through it, found support in it, and bounced higher. And it did it on a right around 10 o'clock, which was a beautiful inversion on the 30-second. I didn't see it on the 30-second, so I wasn't able to take it. But I will tell you that when you're reading price action trading demands your full attention. It demands your full attention to be able to read and to consider all the possibilities, looking at the different levels at the different time frames. Man, I remember when I would just sit on the 1 minute and that's all I would look at. I was like, when I had the realization that the higher time frame spoke direction and I could see it and it clicked, I'm like, never again will I just sit on the 1 minute. Oh, right here. I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm not counting that. I mean, it already, you could see it find support in this one. But I just put it on here because I want to keep track of how it reacts. And then when I do my back testing, I have it on my chart already. All right, so this breaker is playing out. Ultimately, I do want to see lower prices. I'm not interested in taking anything down yet. Main reason is there's multiple discount PD arrays that we could find support in. Here's a breaker right here overlapping with this fair value gap, overlapping with the previous week high. Do I really want to go short into this, especially after we grab London lows? We could still run for these PM session lows and the NQ or the equal lows down here, but there's so much space for this to run that I would rather it get through some of these levels to know that we're going to run lower. I mean, we also have the new week opening gap, midnight open, all right here. There could be reason for this to actually find support and move higher if it really wants to. I don't want to speculate and think that it's going to run through all of these like butter, because it's probably not. There'll be a better setup. Today I'm doing one single mini contract. One single mini contract. This isn't bad right here. I'm going to pass on it as well. We got 9 minutes before news. Nice 5-minute order. Look at this 5-minute order block reaction right here. This is a 5-minute change in state of delivery with a retest of it. So look at that. This is the 5-minute change in state of delivery, and look how it, ticked the bodies, and now we're moving higher. It makes this look a little bit better. I'm still going to sit on my hands and wait for news. But that's a nice reaction to this for a move higher. It really is. Yeah, great setup right there. If it wasn't before news, I would have been very interested in taking this long right here. So we have the confirmation of a 5-minute change in state of delivery, followed by a 1-minute inversion with the expansion to these highs for a stop to break even, targeting these Asia highs, or targeting this the current day's high. And it may not get there, but you at least got up to here, which that in itself, 17 handles. So that's a beautiful setup. And a beautiful example of why you take profit at these highs before news, because look at that. If it wants to go higher, it should have just kept going, but it reacted to 930 quite aggressively. Now we got a high, low, higher high off of this 930. We'll see if it wants to break lower below the 5-minute. Here's the 30-minute, the 1 hour. The 1 hour wicked up into this 1 hour fair value gap. We'll see how it closes in the next 5 minutes. And then we have the 4 hour sitting right here, which looks a little indifferent. I don't know which way the 4 hour wants to go. Honestly, I really think we should tap this 4 hour fair value gap. This four hour fair value gap has not been tagged. And that's right in line with the equal lows. So I think that's my narrative, guys, that I'm looking for. We grabbed Asia highs. We have permission to run lower. I think I want to wait to get through some of these levels to know that we are going to move lower. Unless we get higher and we grab liquidity up here somewhere and then start getting displacement lower, that's when I can look at taking a short there. In the meantime, we're going to sit and wait. We got 5 minutes till jolts. Let's see if it gives us a fair value gap right here. If the setup looks very clean, I may consider an entry. What do I mean by clean? High, low, higher, high, large displacement lower, fair value gap on the right, fair value gap on the left. And it looks like it may be giving that to us. We have a breaker right here. I gotta wait. I have to wait. Sorry, folks. I'm not taking this. Good morning, David. Yeah, I think the equal lows is the obvious target for me. So let's see if there's a 2-minute inversion right here that closes in 20 seconds. But still, man, that looks really good. Let's hope it doesn't close. There's the close. If you want to take a trade at your own risk with news here in 2 minutes, this is this looks really nice. We also have this breaker that's sitting right up here. Yeah, we already tagged London lows once. We already took the London lows at 940. London lows are between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. This, I think, was at 3:15. At least that's what when I measure my London time frame, that's what I measure it between. Gotcha. Yeah, see, I have a hard time. I mean, did it run this low? 240? So it ran 240 as well. All right, news here in a second. Let's see what kind of reaction. It'd be nice if we got a reaction up to this fair value gap. Doesn't look like we're going to get that. Oh. Probably going to run straight for these lows. There's our equal lows, folks. It just sucks that we couldn't take it with news there. Oh, because everything looked beautiful. Everything looked beautiful. I've taken trades before news, and sometimes they've worked out, sometimes they haven't. So I just try, especially on stream, I just want to be conservative with you guys. But that really sucks. All right, so we hit our 4-hour fair value gap. ES is coming to the lows right now. ES it just is about to run this low. That's what we're waiting for. We want to see this run that low right there. Once this low is ran, we would have permission to start looking for higher prices. I don't know if it wants to go higher. Here's the 4-hour on ES. But here's the thing. I don't think I'm looking for a long until that's taken on ES. Yeah, we made equal lows with that low. So we can't, I'm not taking nothing. We want that low to be taken on ES. Honestly, it could give us a reason to go lower on NQ if there was an inversion right here. No inversion. I'm going to take a quick scalp right here. for these lows, see if it will give us that entry. Give us this low right here. I'm watching ES for that to be ran. ES is just ran now, so I'm gonna close that. Even though it went lower, I decided to close it because we tagged the equal lows on ES. Probably a little premature, but it ran it and took it, and there's the reaction. So my thought process on this was that we rejected the PM session low. We were running lower, and N and ES didn't actually grab its low. ES didn't grab. Look how it ran it. It just a tiny little sweep right here. This is what I was looking for. It didn't run this low, so I was expecting it to come back down and grab it. And so I, on NQ, decided to run short with the intention that ES didn't grab its lows yet. That was the thought process on that. I closed that with about 6 handles. So it was about a 6 handle profit. It could have ran and grabbed it, but I closed it early because I was watching ES. And I closed it based on what I was looking on ES. $15-minute order block on NQ, Tony. Is that what it is? I see it right there, yeah. You cannot. I mean, I think it's premature to expect an expansion lower. It could absolutely happen, but I mean, I don't know if I personally would want to take that after ES just ran its lows. It could absolutely keep going lower. It's just not something I want to mess with. And it's coming into an order block as well. We do have a London low on ES. Do we have one on NQ here? We have London lows sitting right here on NQ. And we have our new week opening gap. Guys, that's the target. All right, I see it. If we're going to push through these equal lows, we have our January 5th new week opening gap. Yesterday's new week opening gap right here that we could look to tag. So new week opening gap sitting right here. So if we're going to take a short, I need to see some type of retracement followed by an inversion to go short. Made equal lows with London low and the new week opening gap from December 23rd. That's aggressive, man. I can't take it. This is a balanced area. It doesn't have to fill this area again. So from this point, it could just expand without retracing at all. Tagged here. Let's see if it wants to run all the way to the low. I'm going to take a short right here. Did it give it to me? Oh, it didn't give me the entry. I'm not going to take it anymore. I wanted to take it right here towards this low. We came into this fair value gap in institutional order flow entry drill. I expected an expansion down to here. But once we run that low, it didn't give me the entry. That's why I got out, or that's why I'm not taking it. I clicked the button. It didn't go. Maybe I'm glad I didn't take it. Not chasing. There'll be another setup. Previous day lows, Tony? I don't know. Let's see. Let me see what it looks like on the chart. I think that's possible. Yeah, I think that's possible. I want to see what they want to do here. But I think we're gonna have, I think it's a bearish day today. So either we run this today or we run it tomorrow and then we push higher. So we could close the day maybe somewhere around here. Say we do that. Then tomorrow it runs the low and then moves higher. That's a possibility as well. There's an inversion, 30-second inversion right there. I'm not going to take it. I want a little more structure. I don't want to assume that we're just going to continue running lower. The only way that I may be interested in something is if we do something like this. Following this order block, we run below those levels and come back up to this order block right here and then move it. I think that's the only way I'd be interested in it, knowing that this is an order block. Just the same way with these down up close candles here, right? It wasn't until we closed below it that price runs back up into it, then displaces lower, runs back up into it, displaces lower. This is too small for me to consider this a primary order block because you can see it already closed above it. It ran into the low of this one right here. So I want to make sure that we are running lower or if we're just going to consolidate at this point. Really sucks that Jolts kind of messed this whole thing up because this was absolutely beautiful. We called this breaker right here. We had this inversion, 2-minute inversion that I said, but it was literally 3 minutes before Jolts slowly worked its way, and then on the news, it just launched lower. I wouldn't have taken the breaker because we had this bullish breaker that we needed to see it violate, and it violated it on the 2-minute inversion fair value gap right here when it closed. Okay, let's see if we get an expansion right here. A close below, that's nice. See if we can get pushed. It's going to wick back up, isn't it? All right, let's see if it can give us another push lower. ES didn't hit. ES is already in it. Going for 40 ticks here. I'm going to close it there for 10 handles. Got 10 handles on that expansion lower below this order block. So when it closed here, that told me we are moving lower than this order block. Got the expansion into the new week opening gap. Waited for just a little bit of a push, and then I sold. Anytime we come up to the new week opening gap, you just got to be careful for some type of reaction. This really could run down all the way to the low, even the previous day low. It could run, but my goal is to get 10 handles out of this. Okay, this candle came up into the lows. Let's see if it wants to respect it with this fair value gap right here, or if it's going to move lower. Or if it's going to move higher, I should say. The concern I have is that I just price when it gets closer to the bottom, when it aggressively, think of it this way. We have two scenarios. Either price is going to run slowly up here, and then after it hits a certain level, it aggressively runs lower, which it does that. But where does it do it? It's always fastest in the middle of the move. Slow here, aggressive, and then once we get closer to the final targets, it starts to consolidate. And then it will run lower, but then come back up higher. Then it runs lower, but comes back up higher. And it's slower once we get to the final targets. Now, it also could just mean a midpoint, and then it runs even lower. Maybe it wants to run for the monthly opening price. Who knows? But the fastest points, the fastest movements is always in the middle. That's why you're like, when you finally hit your target, you sell, and then it runs another 100 handles. You're like, what the heck? Because the target was way lower, and it's always fastest in the middle. Then you start getting this kind of price action. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Definitely makes it more difficult to trade because the trade really should be up here. Take the breaker, take the inversion, have the discipline to hold, and then hold through these big moves. Hold through the big move. And in my personal journey, I know this is coming, and this is what I need to begin to hold through. We really haven't had any great trades to where I was able to hold for 50 to 100 handles probably in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it was basically over the holidays that I haven't been able to get any of that. So I'm hoping now that we're into the new year, that I'm able to get a little bit better, bigger moves. This would have been a great one. This would have been a great one right here. Only problem is I was following my rules of not trading before news. I would be more interested in a short if we would have ran this high. This is lower probability. I mean, it could be a high, low, lower, high for a continuation lower. But what I typically want to see is that manipulation. I typically want to see people thinking it's running higher. Oh no, I want to get in to go long. And then it goes like this. This is the signature and price I'm constantly looking for. This tells me, hey, pay attention, Tyler. Something's going to happen. Sometimes it just moves higher. Sometimes I get the reversal. So there's the sweep right there. Let's see what happens. What does the 1 minute look like? 1 minute has a, let's look at the 2 minute. 2 minute has a fair value gap right here. Now, I'm not as partial to the downside anymore because we hit the new week opening gap. But we do have the new week opening gap low and the previous day low. So there's opportunities. We'll just see if it wants to give it to us. But see that sweep right there? This is the signature that I want to look for a continuation lower. It's like the signal that says, hey, I'm done consolidating. I'm going to make everybody think we're going higher, grab the liquidity up here, and then go lower. And if it continues to go higher, guess what? No trade. I mean, that's the worst that can happen. There's no trade. But I see this and I say to myself, okay, I'm paying attention. There might be an opportunity to go short and grab and capitalize on some of this move. But because of some of these levels here, the new week opening gap from the 23rd and from the 5th, we have London lows. We may have seen the bottom. We may have seen the bottom. Now, if I'm looking for this short, I may miss the move higher. And that's just part of the game. So if we're looking, let's go through the assumption that we're going to get a move higher. How would we look at this? I would look at it in the form of a breaker right here. Okay? We haven't missed the move yet, but that's how I would be looking at it. Low, high, lower, low, break higher. We have, unfortunately, not a clear, we have a change in state of delivery way down here. See that level right there? That's a change in state of delivery. So if it's me, what I would want to see is this price come back down to this level here, overlapping with this 2-minute, and then rocket higher from there. That's the scenario I'd want. So it's not necessarily a breaker. It'd be more of a model 2022. Because of this down close candle right here on the 5-minute. We'll see. I see what you're saying, David. We have this volume imbalance right here that we filled on the 15. You can see it on the 15-minute or on the daily. Did it go right to the center of it? Close. Or maybe I need to change my settings. Not quite. This doesn't look like a complete reversal day. I don't think, David, I don't see it. I don't see us running up to these highs. Unfortunately. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure if I would want to go, if I would want to take a long right here. Here's our 1-minute inversion, sweep of these equal highs. Let's see how it closes here. I think what I would want to see, if we're going to go higher, I'd want to see this, and then I would want to see an inversion in here, roughly overlapping with this breaker where we close above it. Run for these highs or higher. So I'm not going to take the trade from here at this 2-minute inversion. Honestly, I would be looking for this 2-minute inversion to violate and then run lower for the previous day low down here, because there's a target down here that we could hit. So if there's a target down here, I don't want to take this as my entry because I'm not 100% sure if it wants to go lower or higher. I'm not 100% sure. So if I'm not 100% sure, I need to wait for that additional confirmation to show me that it's going to find support at this level, violate an inversion for a premium PD array, and then run higher. Okay, there's the tag. There's that tag. Let's drop down to the 2 minute and let's see how this plays out. 11 seconds on the 2 minute. This could be a great manipulation candle. Let's see if it leaves us a fair value gap right here. This is the kind of thing that I'd be looking for. Here's a 1 minute inversion. This is exactly what we're talking about, folks. This is why. I mean, if you would have stabbed to try to take a long here with a potential target down here, you're getting burned. Let's see if we can get a reaction right here to these lows. Setting a stop loss. Stop loss as that break even. I'm going to go ahead and take it there for 20 ticks or 20 handles. All right, folks, there's 20 handles. All right, where do we take that? Do you guys understand just exactly what happened there? Okay? We literally walked through all the scenarios. We outlined what we wanted to see if it was going to be bullish. We outlined what we wanted to see if it was going to be bearish. And we executed based on the plan. But the only way you can do that is if you have to look at both sides. You have to assume it could be bullish, it could be bearish, especially when you have a target down here. We're more than likely we're running this previous day low. I could have held for that. I didn't. I got my 20 handles. I got out. I'm happy. I doubled my size. I'm up nicely for the day. I'm not going to take another trade. Who does not understand what we just processed there? Now, this is the 2 minute candle. This 2 minute candle violated this 2 minute fair value gap that we wanted to go short on. When we started seeing this push lower, what did I do? I dropped down to the 1 minute and I found a 1 minute fair value gap. As soon as that 1 minute fair value gap closed, that's when we went short. It was obvious that we were violating all of this just by how aggressive these candles were. So we find our potential for an entry, our entry spot, and we take our short. Now we're probably going to run this previous day low. It wouldn't surprise me if it wicks back up here, tries to get people that are still going short, tries to get people out, and does one of these things where it goes boom, boom. Or it just runs. We'll see. Yeah, David, if you're looking at NQ for volume imbalances, 100% why it's different. David, what my recommendation is execute on MNQ, but do all of your analysis on NQ. Because price is going to move based on the Nasdaq, not the micros. It's not going to run based on the micros. It's running based on the Nasdaq, the mini contracts. So you should do your analysis on NQH 2025. That's what it should be on, NQH 2025. This is a great day. Great price action. Great. I mean, I love when I'm able to give options on what we could look for. We see what happens and then we execute on it. I mean, the lessons can't get any better than that. I mean, this is like, if I was on the other end, this is what I'd want to see. Whether I got the trade or not, the lesson that is involved with identifying your PD arrays to go long and your PD arrays to go short in a scenario when you have a potential draw on liquidity lower, it's fantastic. ES has not. It's sitting, though, inside the new week opening gap. So it may not. It may not. We'll see what happens with NQ. I mean, NQ, obviously, if it wants to move lower, is going to hit the previous day low first. Here's ES right here inside the new week opening gap. Same new week opening gap we're seeing below, and here's the previous day low. So there's ES or NQ just about tagging the previous day low. Now, I'm going to put this on record here. I mentioned that we may not run that low. I still could see it happening. It's key. It makes this is the low of the day. That's going to be my prediction, that this is the low of the day. I could be wrong, but if I wanted an inside day or a fake break day, this would be it. And then tomorrow, run the low in the Asia session and start moving higher for a big green day tomorrow. If I wanted to go higher, that's what I would do. I would manipulate back higher, but end the day somewhere down in this area. Tomorrow or at 6 o'clock tonight, we wick lower, we run the lows, and then we have a big bullish day tomorrow. Now, I could be wrong here in 10 seconds. So this is how you just come up with different scenarios. Did you see the 10 a.m.? Did you see that drop, that breaker in that 2-minute inversion though, 3 minutes before? There's previous day low tag. That was beautiful. I wanted to take that so bad, but I didn't because of news. That 2-minute was beautiful right here. Oh, man. That would have been nice to take. Where was it? Right. Where was it? Am I in the wrong spot? Oh, I'm on the 22-minute. All right, there's the 2-minute right there. Look at that. That's just... You got the breaker, a sweep of liquidity, 930 tag, displacement lower, single inversion. That, yeah, that was it. That was it. We took the 1-minute inversion right here. We took this 1-minute inversion right there to there. We got about 20 handles on it. Okay, it looks like we're having a lower day. So let's go to the higher time frame. We have our daily on the NQ here. Okay, folks, this is where we're going. This is our next target. It's Friday's equilibrium. Friday's equilibrium level. This is what I'd be looking for. Sitting at, what is that? 21,352. That would be the level I'd be looking for. Friday's equilibrium is ran like 80% of the time. It's like 70% of the time it's on Monday. And then if it doesn't, it's like a very, very high percentage that it's ran on Tuesday or the remainder of the week. And because it didn't run it on Monday, I kind of just forgot about it. But now that we're displacing below the previous day low, this looks like the next target. We also have these equal lows way down here. Remember that? What day was that? That was Friday. Friday, I wanted those equal lows to be ran, and we were going to go short, and all day it went higher. That was annoying. That was really annoying. All right, so I'm done on all my accounts. I may take an eval account, but if I'm going to look for something, I want to see a test of the previous day low and see that we want to stay underneath this price and not move higher, and then look for a continuation to the downside. But for that, ideally an inversion fair value gap for our entry. That's my preference. We could come up here. We could reach higher. Absolutely. All this is possible. But if that's the case, then again, if we come down here, I want to see a retest of this to show me that we're planning on staying underneath this. So if we don't reach it, it'd be something like that. But I'm not interested in just trying to play this lower price, because what happens, one of two things happen. Either it just runs lower and and just moves lower, or you go short and then you get this massive green candle for 40, 50 points, gets all of those people out of their positions, and then just continues lower. So I want to wait for that massive green candle, get an inversion, and then run short. Go lower. But either way, the bulk of our trading is done for today. How big is that candle, Tony? So 280, 280. You remember this candle? Remember those? Holy cow. What is that? What one? Which was this? That was 375. And that one was 485. Oh, this was on FOMC, I believe. This was at FOMC. It happened right at 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 o'clock. You want those? That's a big candle. This is still a large candle for, jolts. Since I got more of you on here right now, I'll repeat this. I said this on the first stream with the debacle of choppy streaming. But right now, if you want to use Apex, if you're on Apex, you can use the code DTJ to get the most updated discount. However, I'm going to give you guys a little secret that does not include my code. If you want, right now, everything is 50% off. Don't ever pay for 50% off. If you accessed some of the 90% off sale and you failed some of those evaluation accounts, you're going to get an email that says, hey, you failed this account, but we'll give you a one-time code that will give you 80% off. Use it. That is what you want to use. So look in it's only valid for 7 days. So if you failed an eval account since January 1st, go check out your emails. Look for the email from Apex that says that you failed an account. Whether it's a funded account or an eval account. Either way, they're going to give you 80% off. Okay? 80% off. The other way that you can avoid all of these the new prices for the discounts is you can reset your 90% off sale eval accounts. If you want to reset those, you just reset it and it's only $35, which is basically like 81% discount. It's like 81 or 82% discount. So you can still get access to those big discounts. It's just not going to be, it's just not through a brand new account with my code. Okay. You go directly, you reset your account for eval accounts, and for failed funded accounts, they'll give you a free code for 80% off. those are the best ways to make sure you're not overpaying for your eval accounts or overpaying for Apex accounts, because you should never, ever, ever pay for 50% off. Never get an eval account for 50% off. I don't have an answer to that. I wonder if you reset your eval account, if they still honor the lifetime cost being $85. But if it's not, it's usually either 85 or 125. And I expect it to always be between 85 and 125. They're not going to go higher because their competition has their activation fees around that $85. So they're not gonna push themselves out of the market. They're going to stay competitive. Okay, so what do we do here? We note that we swept liquidity. That's what we want to do. We want to note that we swept liquidity. It could mean one of two things. Either we run lower, and that's what I would want to look for, or we move higher. Either way, I'm just noting we swept liquidity. Way to go, David. But if you are getting an eval account or the discount, I would greatly appreciate you using the code DTJ. All right, let's look at the 5-minute here. Do we run any levels? Guys, we're turning nowhere. What did ES run? ES stopped below this swing low with this fair value gap. And NQ is basically turning around. Is there a 15-minute swing low we grabbed here? Okay, so we're inside a 15. I bet you that's even a 30-minute. Bet you that's a 1 hour. No. 4 hour. And here's a 4 hour fair value gap that we tagged. So let's see if I still would be, here's what I'm talking about right there. This is what I'm looking for. Do we find resistance at the previous day low? We're in the 11 a.m. macro right now. Or are we going to find a breaker to move higher? So here's our breaker. Here's the resistance that I wanted to see. Or do we move higher above this level? So I would not take this, personally would not look at taking this breaker long, even if it tagged it, because I want to see it find support now above this previous day low. You could take this inversion in 30 seconds. I'm 50-50 on it. because we could just make a high right here, not running this high, and then move lower. Think of it this way. There's better setups. There's better setups. We don't have we never grabbed a key level down here on ES or on NQ. So I'm not as excited about that inversion. We don't have an SMT either. So I'm not as excited. It could absolutely work out, but I'm not as excited because down here I don't have, a level like this that says, a key level that's maybe a data low or data high or a swing low or a swing high. We don't have that down here. So while this could work out, I would rather take the one that grabbed the liquidity and then runs the high. So there's your entry. Let's see if it works. It's still very high. So it ran, but what were you risking? Your risk was 40 handles right there. That's your risk for the inversion model. That's a 40 handle risk. That's just too much. So before you even take that, you got to find out how big is this fair value gap. And that was the fair value gap alone was 26 handles. So it's not a trade that I would have wanted to take. Here's a nice breaker. We could do the initial test of this breaker. Oh, I missed it. Look at that. I'm finding, folks, if you're on here for the first time, that when we hit breakers like this, it will give you 10 points. It will give you 10 points on the first reaction. And what did it give us? It gave us 22 points. It gave us 22 points from hitting that level. The more I'm watching this, the more I like it, folks. The more I like it. That was a great reaction. Easy 10 handles. Now, you don't do it a second time, because the second time it can just push right through it. But we're just looking at the reaction of how the charts move, how the candlesticks move. And when you come up to these levels like this, high, low, higher, high, we displace lower and it has a breaker right here overlapping with a fair value gap, you're going to get some type of reaction. Those are great, easy trades. You don't do it on everyone. It needs to be obvious. This is obvious. Do you see how obvious that is? That's what we call obvious. 10 handles. It doesn't mean it's reversing, which it absolutely could. But you're at least going to get some type of reaction. That's from the body. Hey folks, do me a solid, hit the like button for me if you appreciated this commentary. We're pretty light on the likes on my end. I'd greatly appreciate it if you appreciate the commentary. See if we can get up to 25. See what I mean by it running through on the second exposure? Okay. Here's the initial reaction right here on that breaker. Gave us 22 handles. But the next time it came through, it only gave 7 handles, and then it plowed right through it. So it is a first exposure. You think you're catching a falling knife, or it's a rocket moving higher. When it hits that level, you just take the short, set your stop as a 10 handle stop loss above, So it would be like this. So you would put your entry right on that low. Why can't I? There we go. You put your entry right on that low. Do a 10 handle stop loss. And then you do a standard 10 handle, 15 handle, 20 handle target. I like just to do 10 handles to guarantee that I'm going to get the move, because sometimes they're not always 20 handles like this. So it's a 1-to-1 risk to reward, but those are nice plays for 10 handles. If the 1047, if it gave us a dog, and you like a nail head, is that what you're talking about, Ryan? A small body, long wick with an inversion right here. You would have taken that? I think so too. All right, so let's look at this from this low to high here. Ted's talking about the dealing range. So here's our dealing range. So we're at the 62% reversal level. The London lows are 70%. That's interesting. Yeah, if it had a big candled wick like it does here, maybe even smaller bodied with a fair value gap, yeah, that would have been nice. I bet you there's one like on the 15-second. No, nothing. Ted, I like that you like the breakers. They're such a great PD array. You can make your whole trading career off of breakers. Mine are breakers and inversions. And many times they work together. And that's what I love about them, is you can use them together. What is that level? ES just came up to its low. This low sitting right here. It just reacted to it. We'll see if it wants to continue lower. We ran the previous day low, folks. So we, in my mind, the targets are done for the day. For the most part. Yeah, NQ could run lower to, it could run lower to Friday's equilibrium level, which is this red line right here. But honestly, I think that could be more of a PM session trade because of how much we ran from 9:30. 9:30. Was this 9:30? Yeah, holy cow. We had a lot. We had some movement here. Let's see what our levels are if we do this. So from opening price, 50% level sitting here. our 62% reversal level is sitting at the equal lows. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I would love to see a sweep right here. This is what I would look for a reversal. That buy-side liquidity being ran right here. Maybe we do some of this through lunch, afternoon session, and then we end up running lower. That's a possibility as well. But if it really wanted to, it only need to have to come up to this level right here, 50%. But that's what I would be waiting for, is a 50% minimum to 62% retracement. Shane, see you, man. Have a blessed day. Yeah, the key with Ted, the inversions, is sweeps of liquidity. I can't tell you how many inversions I took and have taken that didn't have a sweep of liquidity that end up failing. Or I take an inversion that long that's already in premium. The best inversions are inversions that are in discount to go long and inversions that are in premium to go short. That's why this inversion right here is amazing. Why? Because when you look at the context of a higher time frame of where we've come, all of this is in premium. Even if you look at this price leg right here, from this low to this high, it's sitting right around equilibrium. There's equilibrium right there. So it forms in discount, but it's still relatively close. So anything inside this dealing range is low probability. Anything inside this that's going to happen right now is low probability. In my opinion. Because it could go up and down all inside this range. And then as soon as we either sweep the high to expand higher or reverse lower or sweep the low to expand higher, that's what I would be looking for. What is that? That's the London lows from the other day. I think we're done with that. I'm going to clean up my chart a bit, folks. Yeah, look at that. Here's 11 a.m. right here. And through the rest of the macro, it's just consolidation. Folks, I think the morning session is done. And if there's going to be another move, it may be during the lunch macro or the lunch session or the PM session for the next move. But I think the AM session is done. I think it's just going to count time, past time. Fill out some of these 15-minute candles, hourly candles. And do this up and down business. What's the view on the Euro Japan 4-hour time frame? Unfortunately, we are not trading Euro Japan. We are trading the Nasdaq AN. You know what I get a lot of though, folks? I get so many comments on my channel about people saying, "Oh, very informative video. Can you help me with something? Here's my digital wallet passcode," and it lists it off. It says, "Can anybody help me on how to withdraw or how to add or how to buy?" All a freaking scam. So if you see any of that crap on my channel, just ignore it. All of it's crap. I try to delete them as fast as possible, but they're relentless. Right here is my next target, folks. Like I've said before, if we're gonna run lower, this would be the target. Friday's equilibrium, the midpoint of Friday's range. Folks, we're going to be done for the day. I'm going to call it a day. I don't want to sit in front of the charts. We got my trades. I want to be done. I want to get off, go work out, go do some other stuff, work on some videos. If you have questions about anything, about how to trade, how to use ICT Concepts, anything that I teach here, please reach out. I want to help as much as I can. That's what this channel is all about. I want to be a resource for you. So God bless, guys. Stay safe. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9:15 New York Standard Time, 15 minutes before the opening bell. We'll be back on here. So God bless, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.